You know, it's funny how we have this fixed idea in our heads about what a holy person should look like. But what if the most spiritually profound people are the ones hiding in plain sight? Well, we're about to dive into a story that completely flips that idea on its head.
So picture this. We're in Navadvip with Lord Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, this absolute central figure in the Vaishnava tradition. He's with his followers, and all of a sudden, he just starts to weep, crying out this name nobody recognizes, Puṇḍarīka, and he's saying it with so much love, like he's talking about his best friend, or even his own father. You can imagine, everyone was just completely baffled.
And that's the big question, isn't it? Who on earth was this Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi? Why did just saying his name bring Lord Chaitanya to tears? His followers were dying to know, and let me tell you, what they found was about to totally upend everything they thought they knew about devotion.
So, when Lord Chaitanya's followers finally went to find this Puṇḍarīka, what they discovered was just a massive paradox. The man they found seemed to be the exact opposite of the great saint the Lord was describing.
I mean, the contrast was just staggering. On the one hand, you have this incredible reputation, a devotee so pure that just hearing his name could purify the whole world. But then what you see, it's a completely different story. You see a wealthy guy who looks like he's totally absorbed in material pleasure.
Let me paint you a picture here. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was a rich landowner. We're talking the finest silk clothes, perfectly styled, perfumed hair. He'd be lounging on these massive silk cushions, smoking an ornate water pipe, with servants all around him waving peacock fans. To anybody just walking by, this does not scream saint. This screams man of the world. So how do you square that? How can this be the same person? Because despite all this outward show, Lord Chaitanya, who could see right into a person's heart, knew the truth. He knew that internally, Puṇḍarīka was just swimming in this incredible ocean of divine love. But how could anyone else possibly see past the disguise?
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The mask starts to slip during a really important meeting. A highly respected devotee named Gadādhara Paṇḍita decides to go and see this Puṇḍarīka for himself.
So Gadādhara shows up and he's full of excitement, expecting to meet this super holy man. But when he walks in and sees this whole luxurious scene, his faith just plummets. He starts thinking, wait, this can't be right. How can this guy be a real devotee? He's totally confused. But then his friend Mukundo, who can see the doubt on his face, recites a very specific verse from the scriptures. And in that one moment, everything changes.
This was the verse. This was the trigger. It's all about Krishna's unbelievable mercy, how he gave salvation even to the demoness Putana, who literally came to poison him. Hearing about that level of compassion, well, for Puṇḍarīka, it was like striking a match in a room full of dynamite.
And the effect, wow, it was immediate. It was overwhelming. That sophisticated, perfumed man was just gone. Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi was completely seized by this divine ecstasy. He falls to the ground, he's crying, shouting Krishna's name, rolling in the dust until his expensive clothes and perfect hair are an absolute mess. The mask didn't just slip, it completely shattered.
Can you imagine being Gadādhara in that moment? He was just overcome with shame. He was horrified at his own judgmental thoughts. He realized he had made a huge mistake, a grave offense, by judging this incredible soul. And in this amazing act of humility, he decides the only way he can possibly make it right is to surrender completely and accept Puṇḍarīka as his own spiritual master.
But the story doesn't stop there. There's another famous incident that shows us an even more personal side of his relationship with the divine, and it shows that even a great soul like him still had lessons to learn.
So Puṇḍarīka is visiting the famous Jagannatha temple. Now, he's very particular about ritual purity, and he notices that the deity is dressed in this starched, unwashed cloth, and it just bothers him. It offends his sense of propriety. Well, that very night, Lord Jagannatha and Balarama appear to him in a dream. They're smiling, and then they both slap him hard on both cheeks for being so critical. He wakes up, and his face is literally red and swollen. But here's the crazy part. He's not upset. He's filled with joy.
Because in that dream, the lords told him something incredible. They basically said that this slap wasn't a punishment out of anger. It was an act of intimate mercy. It was their way of showing their love, a kind of loving correction they only give to someone they consider their own.
All right, so let's bring all this back to where we started. You have the hidden devotion, the profound impact he had on others, this incredibly intimate relationship with the Lord. It all brings us back to that first question. Why did Lord Chaitanya cry out his name?
And the answer is right there in the special title Lord Chaitanya himself gave to Puṇḍarīka, Premanidhi. It literally means the treasure house of divine love. That opulent, worldly exterior, that was just the locked treasure chest. But inside was a treasure of love so immense, so powerful, that it could make the Lord himself weep with affection just thinking about it.
So what are the big takeaways from all this? First, and this is a huge one, true devotion doesn't have a uniform. It can be hidden under any kind of appearance. Second, judging people by their lifestyle is a really, really bad idea. We can make massive mistakes. Third, humility is the only way to fix those mistakes when we make them. And finally, for someone who truly loves the divine, even getting corrected or disciplined is seen as the greatest gift, a sign of profound love.
And you know, there's a traditional blessing that comes with this story, which really speaks to its spiritual power. It's said that anyone who sincerely hears about the life of Puṇḍarīka Vidyānidhi is granted the highest spiritual goal.
And that really leaves us with something to think about, doesn't it? The life of Puṇḍarīka is this powerful, powerful reminder to always look deeper. And it makes you ask yourself a really simple but really profound question. How often in my own life do I mistake the fancy wrapping for the actual gift inside?